Oh shit, video started. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are going to go over elemental team comps. A lot of you guys have requested me to make a video about this because there are some new players who are just not playing the game and they want, a guide to help them get started, a guide to help them understand how this game even works and, how does team building work. So I'm not going to talk about, the foundation of elements. I'm just going to show you guys different team comps that you can use to progress in trial area, and you can use them in adventure mode as well. So before I get started on the video, make sure you guys hit that like button, spam the like button. Let's get to 100 likes for this video, and also hit the subscribe button if you're new here. If you haven't, I hope you lose every 50-50 in every gacha game you've played in your life. Let's cut the yapping, let's cut the talking, let's hop to the video. All right, so now when we take a look at trial area, this is where elemental team comps matter because there are restrictions. So as you guys can see, there are different trials. You have yellow element, you have purple element, red element, blue element, and green element. And for each trial, you can't use every single element for a specific trial. So for example, for yellow element trial, you can only use light element units, only yellow element characters. As you guys can see, every character I have here, they're yellow element. For red element, right, the same thing applies for red element. It's just red element units. So you guys already understand, each trial has a specific element, and these elements, you can only use a specific element for each trial. So the first element we are going to go over is light element, and light element, which is yellow element, this is by far the squishiest element in the game. And what I mean by squishy, it means that this element specifically really lacks good tank units. So it's going to be very hard for you to build a team that's going to help you survive long term. So therefore, what you should do is you should create a team that's going to benefit one character. You should create a team that's going to focus on helping one unit survive throughout the entirety of the battle, and that one character is Kun Adon. Kun Adon is like the best light element DPS unit in the game, and the reason why is because he deals damage based off of how much HP the enemy has, which is insane. So he works long term, and that's really good for him. And if you are a new player, you don't have to worry about maxing him out, because at the early phase of the game, you can easily burst through content with low dupe characters. So this team formation I have right here is actually pretty solid. We have Hats right here is going to be our main tank character. We have Kun Adon, who's going to be our range DPS unit, Bomb, who's going to be our support unit, Evan, who's going to be the unit that's going to help the team stay alive because of his ultimate, and of course we have Kun Ascensio. Now Kun Ascensio, he's just there to deal like passive damage and shred the enemy's physical resistance, but it doesn't really benefit Kun Adon because he is a magic damage type unit, which is unfortunate. So that doesn't benefit Kun Adon whatsoever. Kun Ascensio is just there to deal with passive damage and pretty much, distract the enemy. That's literally his job. And if you don't have Kun Ascensio, you can take out Kun Ascensio and put in Yi-Ring. Mama Yi-Ring, fine as hell. You can use this character. She's really, really good when it comes to grouping up enemies, keeping them in one spot. So Yi-Ring, really nice unit. And once again, if you're at the early phase of the game and have low dupes on her, she can still do great. It's just that once you reach the mid game or the late game, that's when you're going to have multiple copies on these characters in order for them to actually stay alive and not get one tapped. So this team right here, I think this is the best team. Like, for real, it really is the best team because light element doesn't really have a lot of options, right? You have Wangnan. Wangnan is also a really nice unit to pair up with Yi-Ring, but without Yi-Ring, it's like he's going to miss his ultimate 90% of the time. So without Yi-Ring, Wangman is just iffy. But when you pair him up with Yi-Ring, he can actually do some solid damage. So Wangman is also a good option here. Shibisu is also a nice light element support unit. I don't really use him that much, but he is a solid light element support. Bomb is way better though, but Shibisu is pretty solid. So when it comes to light element characters, when it comes to DPS units, Compressed Rack is also very good, especially at the early phase of the game. Yiwa, amazing DPS unit as well. It's just that she falls off at the late game. So yeah, she's like a queen DPS unit at the early phase of the game, but once you reach the mid game and late game, she falls off. So overall, Kunadon is literally like the best DPS unit for light element. I recommend you guys to use him in this specific team. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and attempt this fight. I might lose this fight because I'm not gonna lie, this team looks fucking toxic. Team looks terrible. But we're gonna go ahead and do a quick attempt with E-Ring, and we'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Come on, we have to. Why is this so fucking laggy, man? Come on, Tower of God. So we put this in auto. Let me put this in ×2 speed. I think we have a chance of actually winning this. We got the Evan ultimate, really good. E-Ring, go ahead and pop your ultimate. There we go. All right. Kunadon is dead. There we go. We did it. I'm actually surprised that we actually beat this and everybody was actually alive. So you guys can see when we check out the stats right here real quick. Look at that. Kunadon, 123 billion damage. Kunadon is an absolute menace. So this team, I would highly recommend you guys to, invest in Kunadon for light element, because without Kunadon, you're not going to make it far with light element because it is very squishy. And, Kunadon, the fact that he's able to dodge attacks when he uses his ultimate is very useful. So Kunadon is literally like the MVP of light element. He is carrying light element on his back alongside with E-Ring, but Kunadon is just a true MVP here. So if you guys are trying to build a light element team formation, I recommend you guys to use this. It's really solid. It will definitely help you long term. And Evan, you don't have to worry about Evan when it comes to copies. He works perfectly fine at 0 dupes. The only thing he's useful for is his ultimate, which is going to give your team invincibility, which is insane. Like, he's going to keep your team alive as long as he pops his ultimate, which is very good. So highly recommend you guys to use this team for light element. It's going to carry you far. Now, next element we have here is dark element, purple element. This element right here is one of my favorite elements in the game. It's really good. Very powerful element, especially when it comes to DPS units. But let's go ahead and talk about it. So when it comes to your characters, now here are like the top characters for purple element. You have Hayura, who's pretty much like your best purple element support unit. And when it comes to your tank unit, you have Vargarf and Karaka. These two units together, very, very good. Karaka, if you have him at least, let's say 3 blue stars and above, he is an amazing tank unit for purple element. But if you don't have Karaka invested, Vargarf is a great option. He is literally a powerful tank unit for purple element. He has really good survivability if invested in his revolution tier 4 and 5. He is very, very good. So Vargarf is like the free-to-play version of Karaka. Very, very nice tank unit. And then alongside Vargarf, we have Reflejo. Reflejo, this guy right here, absolute menace. He is really good when it comes to shredding enemies evasion, and he can also steal enemies. I think he can actually steal their energy, and he can also shred their physical resistance, which is very, very good. So Reflejo, this unit is an absolute menace when it comes to debuffing enemies. And when it comes to your DPS characters, now DPS characters, you have different options. So if you are a early game player, you're a new player, one unit that's very good is Vivi. Vivi, this unit is very, very powerful. She's an SSR DPS unit. She's not going to carry you extremely long term, but the thing is, she is the best SSR DPS unit in the game. So I highly recommend you guys to, invest in this character because she's going to help you progress with Dark Element. She's a really good unit to have. So this unit right here, Vivi, really, really nice. And if you don't have White, White is an SSR plus DPS unit. This guy is like one of the top DPS characters in the game. He is extremely busted, very broken, really strong unit to have overall. And if you are a new player and you have him at 0 dupes, he is going to carry you. He deals really nice damage. It's just that the downside to this unit is that he doesn't really have a really powerful ignition weapon set as of to right now. But even if he doesn't have a powerful ignition weapon set, he is still an overpowered warrior DPS unit. So White is like literally the best SSR plus. I will say he's like one of the best SSR plus dark element units in the game, alongside with Khun Mashni. Khun Mashni is also a menace as well, but this unit requires like max dupes. Like, you actually want to invest in a revolution tier 4 and 5. That's what's going to make her really busted. So for new players, she's not going to be as strong as White, But if you have her maxed out, she is really, really good. So Kun Mashing is also an amazing option. And we also have Joaquin over here, who's really good at the early phase of the game, but he falls off at the late game, unfortunately. And White is literally like the better version of Joaquin. White is just 10 times better. So Joaquin, you know, if you're a beginner player, he's still good, but once you reach the late game, mid game, kind of falls off. And then of course we have Kaseo right here, who's an assassin unit, pretty good for purple element. And we also have Ana, who's like a great distraction unit for purple element as well. So my team formation for dark element is White, Hayura, Nare, Vargarv, and Reflejo. So Nare, the reason why Nare is in his team is because she is going to pretty much buff my White, and she's also going to shred the enemies. She's going to take their physical and magic resistance, which is really good. So Nare is like a really powerful support character if you invested in her revolution. If you haven't invested in her revolution, she's not as powerful, but once you invest in her revolution, she's a game changer. So Nare, very good support character. And yeah, that's pretty much, you know, my purple element team comp. So we're going to go ahead and come over here to enter battle. And let's do an attempt. Now, I don't know if I'm going to win this fight because the enemy team has Flight Uric and he is annoying as hell. But, you know, let's see if we can actually win this fight. All right, here we go. We got Flight Uric, absolute Giga Chat over here, annoying as fuck. But let's see if we can actually eliminate him. Okay, Evan popped the ultimate. That is not good. That is not good at all. So one problem for the enemy team is Evan. This guy right here is so annoying to deal with because of his immortality. So, you know, if you can't get rid of Evan, it's like you already lost the fight. So we're going to try it one more time. You know, hopefully I actually win this fight, because if I don't, that's going to be embarrassing as fuck. But, you know, it is what it is. This is a high deficit level. So, you know, if I actually beat this, that's impressive. All right, come on, White. He didn't get rid of fucking Evan, bro. You gotta be kidding me. This is still a solid purple element team formation. I highly recommend you guys to build this team. And like I said, if you don't have White, don't worry about it. You have other nice options as a free-to-play player. You know, Vivi is like the best option here. She is like the strongest SSR DPS unit in the entirety of this game. So therefore, I would highly recommend you guys to, you know, use Vivi instead for purple element. Like, she's actually very, very powerful. So that is pretty much dark element. That is all I have for you guys. Another support character I forgot to mention is Gusting. Gusting with Revolution Investment is actually pretty good for a dark element. So, you know, if you're a new player but you don't have him maxed out, I wouldn't use him. I would just use Hayur instead. But if you have him maxed out as a new player, he's pretty good for purple element because of his new Revolution buff. So Gusting is also a nice option, but I would still recommend you guys to use this team formation because, you know, it'll help you long term. Now, next thing we have here is red fire element. So for red element, now this element right here, I will say when it comes to red element, it's actually pretty good. It's just that when it comes to like survivability, that can be an issue. But let's go ahead and talk about the team formations here. So you guys can see for my team formation, I have Ejin, who is the SSR Plus collab unit. So this team right here is actually very, very strong because Ejin, he can play as like your, he can pretty much play as your tank unit and your DPS unit at the same time, which is insane. So Ejin, the whole point of this team comp is so that Ejin can pretty much receive all the buffs from his passive when his allies die. And he's also going to receive a buff because everybody is red element. Because when you read his passive, he pretty much gains an attack increase for every red element ally on the team. And at the same time, he gains a physical pierce increase when your allies die. So this team right here is one of my favorite teams for Ejin because in terms of survivability, this team is not great, but that also benefits Ejin because when they die, he gains a physical pierce increase. So this team is one of my favorites. And when it comes to red element support characters, the best red element support unit in the game is Albelda. Albelda is like a top tier red element support unit because she increases attack and defense by a lot, and she gives invincibility frames, and she's able to debuff enemies by shredding their attack, like reducing their attack and also reducing their defense, which is really good. So she is like the best support unit for DPS units. Like she is a universal support character that's perfectly paired with every single DPS unit in the game. So Albelda is definitely top tier. And another unit as well who's amazing for red element is 003. 003 is like one of the best red element support characters because her entire kit revolves around a red element. She's able to increase red element allies attacks by like 200% if you have a revolution, able to shred enemies defense. She's able to reduce the enemy's red element resistance, which is insane. And she can also, if we look over here, you have the red element resistant shred, and she's able to increase swiftness and a life steal for the unit who has the highest attack. And plus for her ultimate, she has like invincibility. She can't, her HP doesn't fall below 1. She's pretty much immortal when she pops her ultimate. So 003 is like a top tier red element support character. And after 003, we have Princess Anak. Princess Anak is like the best SSR tank unit in the game because she's able to, you know, buff up your ally with the highest attack. She's able to increase energy by a ton. When I mean by a ton, it's crazy as fuck. Like she can increase your ally's energy consistently. Like she's able to do it every second. It's insane. Like your ally can literally spam their ultimate every like 2 seconds, which is insane. So Princess Anak is really crazy when it comes to energy restoration. And she also has, you know, physical and magic resistance buff, attack speed buff. She is like a top tier red element support unit slash tank unit as well. It's just that her survivability at high deficits is kind of squishy. So that can also benefit Ejin as well. And of course, Gia, she's just here to increase attack at the start of the battle, which is going to benefit Albelda. So this is like my favorite team comp in the game. Not in the game, but my favorite red element team comp in the game, because all my other, you know, red element characters are kind of dog shit. I mean, yeah, this is kind of embarrassing, you know.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Shit, this is embarrassing. But if you don't have, you know, Ejin, of course you can use Evankel, right? If I take out Ejin, I put Evankel right here in the bottom, and I put Awakened Rack. You know, you can use Evankel. Evankel is an insane, you know, red element DPS unit. She is extremely broken at max copies. But the thing is, for new players, it's like, if you have the opportunity to max her out, I would do so. She is insane with max copies. But if you don't have her maxed out, she's not going to be that crazy. So I will say for Evankel, she is like, it's either you max her out or you don't max her out. If you don't max her out, you're cooked. If you max her out, you're cooking. So she is a strong character with max dupes. So using this team formation will also be very good. You put Albelda in the bottom right here, paired up with Evankel. You put 003 Awakened Rack as your tank unit, and Princess Anak to continuously give Evankel that energy so she can pretty much spam her ultimate. So Evankel, very, very powerful. We also have Viole. Viole, the fact that he received a revolution buff, really insane for a red element. So I will say Viole, you have to at least have 4 orange stars in order for him to actually pop off. So Viole, very, very strong, you know, with this team formation. But of course, you want to invest in his revolution, get as much copies as much as possible, that he can actually be, you know, beneficial for your red element team long term. And then last but not least, we have Jin Sung, who is like an assassin character. You know, he can't do everything on his own. So I will say, as an assassin unit, he's really good when it comes to single target damage, but at the same time, it's really hard for him to do everything by himself. So I will say Ejin is definitely on top of Jin Sung in terms of damage and, you know, survivability. Ejin is way better, but Jin Sung is also pretty good at max copies as well. And for other support units, you also have Hwarun, who's also amazing, you know, for bosses. She's really good for, you know, crit increase and attack increases. She can also increase swiftness. She's a really nice unit, and she can also provide shields. You know, she's an absolutely god tier support character at the early phase, but at the late game, it becomes more of like a, you know, buffing unit. That's what she's really good for. Buffing your allies when it comes to crit rate increase and attack increase. That's what she's mostly useful for. So I will say Hwarun, very nice when it comes to buffing allies. At the early phase, she's like a DPS monster, but at the late game, she's more of like a support character. So she's also a really good unit to watch out for. Yellowy, also very, very good for red element. She's really nice with max dupes, especially with her revolution. Really nice character. And of course, we have Ron May, pretty good with revolution investment. Without revolution investment, this unit is pretty much dog shit. But with revolution, she's actually pretty solid because she's able to, I think she can actually increase attack with the revolution. So those are like the top, red element allies I would recommend you guys to use alongside with Red Masqua. Red Masqua is really good when it comes to physical pierce increase. So she's also a really nice unit. But my team formation that I'm mostly using is this team right here. This team, very, very good overall, and it is carrying me. So we're going to go ahead and enter this fight. That was a fucking yap session. Hopefully you guys were able to live through that. But I just wanted to explain to you guys, different options when it comes to red element team comp. So for this fight, you guys can see how Ejin is literally going to solo this. If all my allies die, that's totally fine. Look at that. Flight Uric dead. Ejin is the only one alive. And he fucking died. Alright, here we go. Nice. Okay, everybody died. But Ejin, please stay alive, my guy. Don't fucking die on me, bro. I need this for the video. This is not gonna look good. Oh my god. What are you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Nice. Come on. Come on. There we go. I was about to say, bro, if I wasn't able to beat that, that would be embarrassing as fuck for the video. But we were able to beat it. Hopefully, I can edit that part out, but I don't think I am. But you guys can see right here, Ejin, 194 billion damage, absolutely insane. Really nice red element character. Highly recommend you guys to, like, if you have this character, don't be afraid to use him. He is really good for a red element. When it comes to other team comps, not really, because his whole kit revolves around red element. So without red element, it's like you're pretty much debuffing him without red element. So I highly recommend you guys to use Ejin and red element team. This is like my best red element team formation. It's really, really powerful. Now, next thing we have here is blue element. We got water, water, water. So for blue element, I will say for blue element, you don't really have a lot of options. If I'm being honest, you don't have a lot of options for blue element because the best DPS character for blue element is none other than Kaiser. This character is the best DPS unit for blue element, period. Like, there's no other character that can compete with her. So it's like, if you don't have Kaiser, you are holding yourself back with blue element. So this is pretty much like the team formation I am using for my blue element. Ignore the Flight Uric. I just put in there because I felt like it, whatever. But for blue element, I have Escanor as my tank unit. I have Flight Uric, Kaiser, Blanc, and Garon. Now the thing is, for new players, you guys don't have access to Escanor, so therefore I'm going to take out Escanor because you guys don't even have this character. So if you do have Escanor, he's a great tank unit for blue element, but if you don't have him, I'm not going to put him here. Another great unit for blue element is Datamashni. She is like the best stall tank unit for blue element because she pretty much has like an immortality where she cannot die for like a couple seconds, which is insane. It doesn't matter how much damage you deal on this unit, she doesn't die for like a certain period of time. So she's like a very good stall tank character, and she's really good when it comes to distracting enemies. So I will say Datamashni, very, very good. But Flight Uric, I mean, I don't even know why I'm using this guy, to be honest. I just put him here because I felt like it. But I'm going to take out Flight Uric, and we're just going to put in Lero. Lero is also a really nice blue element support character because, he's able to buff blue element allies attack. He's able to decrease the enemy's defense. He's very good. So I will say this team formation is very solid for blue element, but the biggest problem for blue element is that it is very squishy, right? You have Garam as like your support character. You have Blanc as your support unit, Kaiser as your DPS, Lero as your support, and the only stall tank unit you have is Datamashni. So you don't really have a lot of, survivability focused characters. So your team can die instantly when it comes to this like this team comp can die instantly. So I think that's like the downside of blue element, is that when it comes to survivability, blue element is extremely dog shit. And when I say dog shit when it comes to survivability. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take out the data mashing. We're gonna put in Escanor. I just want to show you guys the performance with Escanor. Let's just put data mashing in here. So let's see what happens. I don't think I'm gonna win this fight because I've been struggling with blue element recently. It's not even like, I don't think it's Garam's fault. I don't think it's Kaiser's fault. It's just that blue element just lacks tank characters. You guys can see right there, Kaiser died instantly, right? So, you know, at the early phase of the game, I feel like this team is going to be very strong for you. But once you reach the mid game or late game, you know, this team is going to suffer when it comes to survivability. So the only thing you can do is to pretty much, you know, max out units like Kaiser. You know, like max out Kaiser, max out data mashing. You know, you want to max out these characters so that their survivability doesn't hold you back. Because for example, right, and I'm going to do this for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and use my friend's Kaiser, who's maxed out. Right, we're going to go ahead and put Kaiser over here, and then you guys are going to see how crazy Kaiser is with max dupes. Like, it really just shows you that, you know, depending on how many copies you have on a unit, that's going to affect that character's performance. And wow, she still died. Ooh, okay. Wow, you guys really don't want me to make this video, huh? Anyways, I think you guys get the point. Blue element is very squishy when it comes to, you know, like when it comes to the overall team formation, it's just very squishy. You don't have a lot of, you know, tank characters that can help you out. It's only Escanor who can activate taunt, and that's pretty much it. So, you know, when it comes to units like, you know, Child Yuri, you have to watch out for that. Child Yuri is very annoying, but yeah, blue element is extremely tough. So I would honestly put in, you know, Garam right here as a support. You know, let's see what happens here if we actually put Garam as support with max dupes. And let's see if we can actually win this. If we can't, then I'm not gonna edit this out. You know, I just want to show you guys the flaw of blue element and how much it struggles when it comes to, you know, DPS support characters without max copies. So look at that, Kaiser instantly fucking dead. So you know what, fuck blue element. Fuck blue element. But yeah, when it comes to team formations, I would highly recommend this team formation instead. You know, if you don't have Escanor, then you can just put in Data Mashini, but you want to max her out. You really want to max her out. And if you don't have, I mean, I would recommend you guys to invest in Flight Uric. I'll just put Lero here instead, or you can put in Novik, or you can put in Bluro, right? So I feel like when it comes to blue element, the top characters are Garam, Blanc, Kaiser, Data Mashini, Escanor, Lero. I'll say Blurot sometimes, Novik as well. Those are like the top blue element units for sure. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Now, last but not least, we have green element, cabbage element. Now, this element right here, this is going to be very fast because there is one character that pretty much carries green element on their back. And that one character is Trauma Ray. This guy right here, this toxic, hazardous looking guy, is absolutely fucking broken for green element. He takes green element to the next level. And he does everything. Support, damage, decent survivability, debuffing enemies, buffing allies. He is absolutely insane. So Trauma Ray, it's like if you don't have this character, you are pretty much nerfing yourself. Like, you are nerfing yourself long term. You can have one copy on this unit and he'll carry you long term. It doesn't matter how many dupes you have on this guy. He is insane no matter what. It's just that with low dupes, he's more of like a support focused character, but he can still deal pretty solid damage. But once you reach the late game, you want to get more copies on this guy. But the unfortunate thing is the fact that he doesn't have his banner and he's a really hard character to get. It's like for new players, you guys are pretty much like, hopefully like Netmarble, they can give him a rerun where you can summon for him on his banner again. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I will say for Trauma Ray, if you don't have him, then you can build a team like this where you have Data Zahard as like your shield removal, like he can remove shields, which is really good. I don't know why my dog is barking outside. It's fucking annoying. But Data Zahard, he can remove shields for you, which is really good. And then of course you have Punisher in. Now Punisher in, he's really good at the early phase of the game and mid game, but at the late game, his damage falls off a lot. So what he's mostly useful for is removing the enemy's magic resistance, which is going to benefit your magic damage type characters. So I would leave Punisher in on this team and pair him up with like another, magic DPS character. So, this team formation isn't bad. You can also put, Child Eerie if I take out Punisher and put Child Eerie right here and then put in Lero, this team is also pretty good. The thing is, Child Eerie is a physical damage type unit, so Lero won't benefit her that much. Lero is like a magic damage type buffer, which is really good. He's really good for units like Trauma Ray and Punisher in. So this team formation isn't bad. It's a pretty solid team formation, but it's like, are you gonna make it long term with this team formation? Not really. It's like you need Trauma Ray. In order for you to like push really high deficits, Trauma Ray is the blueprint in order for that to happen. So this is like one of my favorite team formations for Green Element. Punisher in is replaceable. You can replace him with Child Eerie, or you can replace Punisher in with this unit right here. She's another collab character. It's like Green Element is very powerful because of this guy. He is like the blueprint to making Green Element extremely busted. We're gonna go ahead and enter a battle right here, and you guys are gonna see how insane Trauma Ray is. Like, this character is by far the best unit in the game. He is insane. So let's see what happens here. Hopefully we don't lose this fight. That would be embarrassing as fuck. So Lero dies. Not surprised. Come on. Come on, Cabbage Man. You got this. He actually does look like a cabbage. he really does look like a cabbage though. But we have Awaken Rack with the tank shit. He is annoying as hell when it comes to that shield. But I think we can actually win this though. Hopefully he doesn't activate his ultimate, because that actually one taps. I think we actually got it. There it is. Nice. So yeah, this is like my best team formation for Green Element. Very, very good. Punisher in. Like, Punisher in's damage is really non-existent at high deficits, but he's mostly useful for the magic resistant shred that he has in his ultimate, and he is very tanky. Like, he's a good distraction unit because he has like a bull that he can summon on a battlefield. So it's like my best team formation for Green Element. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. That was a lot of fucking yapping, I know, but you guys made it. So those are like the top team formations, in my opinion. Those are like the top team formations for trial area. If you are trying to figure out which team formation you should build for each element, hopefully this video is actually able to help you guys out, give you guys, a boost, give you guys a better understanding as to how the elements work in this game. And I forgot to mention that when you look at the elemental buffs, right? So the reason why elements matter is because you have this right here, where let's say it says 5 same element teammates, you receive an HP % boost and also an attack boost, which is really good. So that's one of the main reasons why, elemental team comps matter. And some characters, their kit is locked behind, the fact that they have to be in a specific element in order for them to work. So, Ejin is a perfect example. In order for him to receive, huge attack buffs, physical pierce buff, he has to be in a red element team in order for that to work. 003, Jia. All these units are restricted to specific team comps, so therefore, building elemental teams is very important in this game. That's like the foundation of Tower of God New World. You building elemental team comps to help you progress, because in adventure mode, you have to build team comps in order for you to beat these boss stages, because you have to win all 4 rounds, which is insane. In order for you to progress, you have to beat 4 rounds of really difficult enemies, and in order for you to win, you got to build a team comp. So yeah, hopefully this video was able to help you guys out, and hopefully it was entertaining as well. I would say this is one of my most entertaining videos. Definitely planning on making my videos a lot more entertaining in the future. But make sure you guys go ahead, spam the like button, subscribe if you haven't. I would really appreciate it. And I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace. Now get the fuck out of here.